She signed the check, and now she can't leave. That one sentence is allegedly the reason 3 different sources reached out this week. That one sentence is what somebody close to this situation reportedly whispered to a media insider. And that one sentence, if it's true, changes everything you thought you knew about Rihanna and ASAP Rocky. Everything. But I need you to understand something before we go any further. What I'm about to lay out for you today is not just celebrity gossip. This is not just tea. This is allegedly one of the most complex, most financially engineered, most emotionally devastating relationship arrangements in the history of modern entertainment. And by the time I'm done breaking this down, you're going to look at every red carpet photo, every paparazzi shot, every carefully staged family outing completely differently. So let me set the stage, and I mean really set it, because the way this story has been told before is wrong. People have been looking at this from the outside in. Today, we're flipping it. We're starting from the inside, from the money, from the paperwork, from the alleged clause that nobody was supposed to know about, and then we're working our way out to what you see on the surface, because the surface, allegedly, is a lie. Let's get into it, and this one deserves a deep dive. Now here is what allegedly happened, and I'm going to walk you through this piece by piece because the details matter. Every single detail matters. Allegedly, Rihanna Fenty, the woman worth over $1 billion, the woman who revolutionized the beauty industry with Fenty Beauty, who disrupted lingerie with Savage X Fenty, who has a music catalog that still generates tens of millions annually even though she hasn't dropped an album in a decade. That woman allegedly entered into a formal 5-year commitment contract with ASAP Rocky. Not a marriage, not an engagement, a contract, a financial arrangement with terms, with conditions, with penalties, and with a price tag that will make your jaw hit the floor. $500 million over 5 years. That is $100 million per year. Let me say that again because I need it to really register. $100 million per year, allegedly, to keep one man committed. Now, I want you to sit with that number for a second because it tells you something that no press release, no Instagram post, no coordinated paparazzi walk is ever going to tell you. It tells you that allegedly at the core of this relationship, there is a transaction, there is an exchange, and the woman writing the check, allegedly, is the one with all the power on paper, but reportedly none of the power in the actual dynamic. And that contradiction, that impossible tension between having all the financial dominance in the world and reportedly none of the emotional power in the actual dynamic, that is the fault line running through this entire story. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. But here's where it gets complicated, because if you think the contract is the story, you're not paying close enough attention. The contract is just the door. What's behind that door is what has the internet losing sleep right now. Let me rewind to something that happened recently. Valentine's Day. Of all the days on the calendar, Valentine's Day. Now, multiple sources online, across platforms, across comment sections, across independent media channels, have been reporting that on Valentine's Day, Rihanna showed up to an event, a gathering, a location where ASAP Rocky was present. And she did not show up with an invitation. She showed up unannounced, without warning. She was not expected to be there. And when she arrived, allegedly, what she found was her partner, the man she is reportedly paying $100 million a year to be with, engaged in a private, intimate conversation with a woman. Not a quick hello, not a passing greeting, a focused, deliberate, extended interaction with someone who, according to people who were reportedly there and people who have been analyzing this online, fit a very specific profile. Dark hair, model-adjacent look, the kind of woman that internet sleuths have been cataloging for years as ASAP Rocky's alleged recurring type. A type that, and I want you to hear this because it matters, does not look like Rihanna. Now stop. I need you to actually process what I just said, because this is not just about a man talking to a woman at a party. This is about a pattern, a documented, extensively discussed pattern that the internet has been tracking for years. And the fact that this pattern allegedly manifested on Valentine's Day, the one day of the year that is supposed to be about your partner, that takes this from a passing rumor to a deliberate statement, a loud, clear, unmistakable statement about where his attention allegedly goes when he thinks nobody is watching. And reportedly, Rihanna's reaction was immediate. Witnesses, or at least people claiming to have been present, have described her as visibly furious, not quietly upset, not subtly disappointed, furious, the kind of anger that people in the room could feel. One source described it as peed off, end quote. Another reportedly said that the energy in the room shifted the moment. Here's the thing that makes this worse, so much worse. This wasn't an isolated incident. This was allegedly just the latest data point in a pattern that sources say has been escalating for months, possibly longer. Because according to multiple online discussions, multiple independent commentators, and multiple people who claim to have inside knowledge of this situation, Rihanna has been reportedly conducting what can only be described as a surveillance operation on her own partner. Showing up unannounced, checking locations, monitoring movements, arriving at places where he doesn't expect her to be, specifically to see what he does when he thinks she's not around. And every time, allegedly, every single time, there is something, a conversation that goes too long, a woman who is too close, an energy that doesn't match what a man in a $100 million per year commitment contract should be radiating.
Now I want to pause here because I know what some of y'all are thinking. You're thinking maybe this is normal. Maybe wealthy couples do this. Maybe she's just protective. And sure, I'll entertain that for a moment. But let me ask you this. If you are Rihanna, if you are a billionaire, if you literally have the financial, social, and cultural capital to have anyone on this planet, and I mean anyone, why would you spend your days tracking a man? Why would your Valentine's Day end in rage instead of roses? Why would the word that keeps coming up in every source, every comment, every discussion about your relationship be control and not love? That's the question that the internet cannot stop asking. And honestly, it's the question that keeps me up at night, because the math isn't mathing. None of this adds up. Now, if you're still with me right now, if your mind is already racing, I need you to brace yourself, because we haven't even scratched the real layer yet. Because the Valentine's Day incident, as disturbing as it is just the part of the story that's visible. Underneath it, and this is where the internet theories start getting genuinely unsettling, there's a whole infrastructure of alleged events, connections, and circumstances that paint a much darker picture. Stay locked in, because this next part is the reason I almost didn't make this video. Let me take you back to something. The shooting incident. Now, I know that this was covered when it happened. I know people talked about it, reacted to it, and then moved on. But a growing number of people online have not moved on. In fact, they've done the opposite. They've dug deeper. And what they're alleging, what they're theorizing, what they're connecting, and I want to be crystal clear that I'm reporting on what the internet is saying, not making claims myself. What they're alleging is disturbing. You remember the incident. A vehicle, a trailer, was shot at. Both Rihanna and ASAP Rocky were reportedly inside. The initial narrative was external threat, street beef, someone from the outside targeting them. Case closed, or at least case filed. But there is a faction of the internet, and it is not small, that has been asking questions that the initial narrative does not answer. Questions like, how did the shooter know exactly where they would be? Questions like, what was the relationship, if any, between the alleged shooter and people in ASAP Rocky's circle? Questions like, why did the timing of this incident coincide with specific developments in Rihanna's business empire and financial restructuring? And the theory, the one that has been building in comment sections and forums and independent media discussions for months now, is that this was not an outside job. That allegedly this was connected to someone on the inside, that the threat did not come from beyond the walls, it came from within them. Now, the obvious counterargument, and it's a fair one, is that ASAP Rocky was in that vehicle too. He was reportedly at risk too. If someone on the inside orchestrated this, why would they put themselves in danger? And that's a logical question. I respect it. But the people building this theory online have an answer for that too. They point to cases, historical cases, documented cases, where people involved in orchestrated incidents position themselves to appear to be victims while actually being protected, where the framing of the event is designed to remove suspicion from the inside person by making them look like they're in the same danger. Am I saying this happened? No, I am not. I was not there, I do not have evidence, but I am telling you that a significant and growing number of people online are convinced that something about this incident does not add up. And when you combine their questions about the shooting with everything else, the contract, the surveillance, the behavioral patterns, the Valentine's Day situation, it creates a mosaic that is deeply, deeply troubling. And if that doesn't unsettle you, what comes next will. Because then there's the layer that nobody talks about loudly enough. The circles, the connections, the people in ASAP Rocky's orbit, the names that keep showing up where they shouldn't. People online have been doing extensive mapping of ASAP Rocky's associations, his friends, his frequent collaborators, the people who show up repeatedly in his life, and some of those connections, allegedly, lead to individuals in situations that raise extremely serious questions. Connections to people who have been associated with, and I'm using this word carefully, associated with incidents involving other high-profile artists. Connections to circles that allegedly operate in areas where entertainment and risk intersect. I have seen these theories laid out across multiple platforms by multiple independent voices over a period of months, and the consistency of what they're pointing to is striking. The same names keep appearing, the same patterns keep emerging, the same questions keep being asked, and the biggest question of all, the one that sits at the center of every theory, every speculation, every late-night internet deep dive into this situation is this: is ASAP Rocky a Trojan horse? Now that phrase, Trojan horse, has been used by multiple commentators and online analysts to describe the theory of what's allegedly happening. And the metaphor is devastatingly apt, because you know the story, you know how the Greeks could not breach the walls of Troy by force, so they built a gift, a beautiful, impressive, seemingly harmless gift, and they hid the threat inside it, and Troy welcomed it through the gates, and from the inside, in the dark, the real operation began. The question that the internet is asking is whether ASAP Rocky, whether knowingly or unknowingly, whether by design or by circumstance, serves a similar function in Rihanna's life. Whether his presence inside her world, inside her home, inside her financial structure, inside the walls that her billions have built, gives access to people and interests that could not reach her from the outside.
And look, I want to be fair. I always want to be fair. It is entirely possible that ASAP Rocky genuinely loves Rihanna, that the contract, if it exists, is simply a practical arrangement between two wealthy people who want structure and protection, that Valentine's Day was a misunderstanding, that the shooting was exactly what it was reported to be, that the internet's theories are just theories. But here's what I can't get past. And it's not one thing. It's the accumulation. It's the fact that every piece of information that emerges about this relationship adds another question, not an answer. It's the fact that the woman paying $100 million a year still doesn't feel secure. It's the fact that she's allegedly tracking a man who should be grateful to be there. It's the fact that the shooting questions have never been satisfactorily resolved. It's the fact that his circles allegedly connect to places that make people uncomfortable. It's all of it together at once. Because individually, you can explain away any single piece, but collectively it forms something that looks less like a love story and more like a corporate hostage situation, where the hostage is paying the ransom. And this brings me to something that the internet has been discussing that adds yet another dimension to all of this: the comparison, the parallel. Because allegedly, Rihanna is not the only powerful woman in entertainment reportedly in this type of dynamic. People online have drawn direct comparisons between Rihanna's situation and the situation of another high-profile woman referred to in these discussions as Clarissa. And the parallels, as people have laid them out, are uncomfortable. Another wealthy, powerful woman, another relationship where the financial weight falls disproportionately on her, another partner whose behavior allegedly does not match the investment being made, another public image that looks polished on the surface while reportedly crumbling underneath. And reportedly, Rihanna herself has acknowledged this parallel, has made reference to it, has signaled in her own way that she sees the similarity. And when people online picked up on that signal, the conversation exploded. Because if this is happening to not just one, but multiple women at the highest levels of entertainment and wealth, then it's not an individual problem, it's a systemic one.
Some people online have theorized that there are people, advisors, managers, associates, whose financial interests are directly served by keeping these arrangements in place, that the men in these relationships are not just romantic partners, but financial instruments, conduits through which money flows to networks and circles that benefit from the relationship continuing. And that for the women at the center, walking away is not as simple as just leaving, because the financial, social, and personal entanglements have been deliberately engineered to make departure costly, complicated, and potentially dangerous. That's a theory. It is an internet theory, and I want to acknowledge that clearly, but it's one that thousands and thousands of people across multiple platforms find compelling, and when you look at the alleged evidence they're pointing to, you can understand why. So where does that leave us? Let me lay out the alleged receipts as the internet has compiled them, because I believe in being thorough. Alleged receipt number 1. The contract. Multiple sources and commentators online have reported that Rihanna and ASAP Rocky entered into a formal 5-year commitment contract valued at $500 million. The alleged purpose? To provide structure, commitment, and financial incentive for the relationship to continue without the legal implications of a traditional marriage. Sources say. Streets say. I have not seen the paperwork.
Alleged receipt number 2. The behavioral pattern. Extensive documentation online, across platforms, and over an extended period of ASAP Rocky allegedly being drawn to women who fit a specific physical type that is notably different from Rihanna. This pattern has allegedly been observed at events, in social media interactions, and in reported incidents spanning years. Alleged receipt number 3, the Valentine's Day incident. Multiple independent reports of Rihanna arriving unannounced at a location to find ASAP Rocky in an extended interaction with a woman fitting his alleged preferred type. Rihanna was reportedly visibly enraged. Alleged receipt number 4, the surveillance pattern. Multiple reports that Rihanna has made a practice of showing up to locations where ASAP Rocky is present without advance notice, allegedly because when she does not monitor his whereabouts, concerning incidents occur. Alleged receipt number 5, the shooting incident. Unresolved questions about the circumstances, connections, and timing of the shooting at their vehicle, with a growing internet theory that the threat may have originated from inside their circle rather than outside it. Alleged receipt number 6, the connections. Online mapping of ASAP Rocky's social and professional circles that allegedly connect to individuals and situations that raise questions about motivation, access, and intent. 7 receipts, 7 threads, 7 separate alarm bells ringing at the same time, and every single one of them leads to the exact same place. Something about this situation is reportedly not what it appears to be on the surface. And that brings me to the question underneath all of this, the real question, the one that cuts through the theories and the receipts and the internet speculation and hits you right in the chest. Who is protecting Rihanna? Not her money, not her brand, not her bodyguards, not her publicist. Her, the person, the woman, the mother, the human being behind the empire. Who is making sure that she is genuinely safe? Who is making sure that the people in her innermost circle are there because they love her and not because they are being paid to be? Who is making sure that the walls she built to protect her fortune are not also trapping her inside a situation she cannot easily escape? Because here's the devastating irony that the internet keeps returning to. Rihanna built walls, massive, billion-dollar walls. She built Fenty Beauty into a global powerhouse. She built Savage X Fenty into a cultural movement. She built a music legacy that will outlast generations. She built those walls to protect herself, to secure her future, to ensure that she would never be vulnerable. And, allegedly, the very person who was supposed to be inside those walls with her, the person she reportedly invited, paid to stay, and trusted with access to everything, may be the one source of vulnerability that no amount of money can fix. That is not a celebrity gossip story. That is a human story. And it should make every single person watching this feel something real. Now, I want to hear from you.
I genuinely want to know what you think, because this community, this right here, is what makes these conversations matter. Do you believe the contract exists? Do you think the internet's theories about the shooting carry weight? Do you think this is a love story that got complicated, or do you think it's something much darker? Drop it in the comments. Every single comment I read, every single perspective matters, because the more voices in this conversation, the closer we get to understanding what's actually happening. And listen, if this video made you stop and think, if it gave you a new lens on a story you thought you already understood, I need you to do something for me. Hit that like button. It's not just a button, it's a signal. It tells the algorithm that this kind of content, this depth of analysis, this level of research and care and nuance matters. It helps more people find it. It helps this channel grow, and it helps us keep having these conversations that nobody else is willing to have. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on the notification bell, because the story is developing. New information is allegedly coming to light every week, and the next chapter of what's happening between Rihanna and ASAP Rocky could drop at any moment. You do not want to be the last person to find out. Trust me on that one. To my day ones who have been here since the beginning, who show up in every comment section, who support through the Cash Apps and the shares and the consistent engagement, thank you. Genuinely. You are the reason this channel exists, and you are the reason these stories get told. Now, everything in this video was presented for entertainment and educational purposes. Everything discussed is alleged. The sources are in the description. I encourage you to look at them, evaluate them, form your own opinions. I don't know these people. I have not been in any rooms. I have not seen any contracts. What I've done is compile, analyze, and present the conversation that the internet is having. What you do with that information is up to you. But I will say this, and this is the last thing I'll leave you with today, because it's been sitting in my chest since I started researching this topic. Rihanna deserves better. Not because she's a celebrity, not because she's a billionaire, because she's a person, because every person deserves to be in a relationship where they don't have to write a check to feel chosen, where they don't have to show up unannounced to feel safe, where love is not a contract with a dollar amount, but a decision made freely, fully, and without conditions. And if that's not what she has right now, if even half of what the internet is alleging has a grain of truth to it, then the most powerful woman in entertainment is also, allegedly, one of the most trapped. And that, more than any receipt, more than any theory, more than any alleged contract or conspiracy, is the thing that keeps people up at night. That is what this story is really about. The story is developing, new information is coming, and when it does, we'll be here. Stay sharp out there. Ask questions, trust your instincts, and never ever stop paying attention. Until next time, peace. The walls we build to keep danger out can also lock danger in.